How to flip off the scale, how to flip off the scale. Bam, how to flip off the scale.
Stupid scale.
All right? How to flip it off. Well, you stand there buck nude and just put your middle fingers up and say, you. Now, seriously, giving the scale power is the biggest problem that folks are going to find.
And that it's all in it, like you said, what you give it. I mean, you're the one giving it that power. It's just a piece of thing with a number on it.
You could argue that it's a way to measure success,
Mhm.
but I don't know what we're actually trying to measure here. What
Right.
you know what I mean? What are we looking at? Where the numbers on that scale are what? They're contingent on whether or not if you're a female, you're in a menstrual cycle.
Mhm.
It's based on how much salt you may have had.
If you had enough
If you're
water.
yeah, time of the year. If it's hot, barometrics come and you start storing, you're inflated. You know what? I mean, there's all sorts of things that can do that.
Right.
And if you're the type that's going to say, well, that time of the month, I'm not going to weigh myself. Well, why the fuck not?
Yeah. That just go into it understanding, like,
Right.
it what does it say about your progress that the scale is up a couple pounds because it's that time of the month? That says nothing about your progress.
And if you start to build muscle,
It's gonna go up too.
it'll go up anyway.
Mhm.
And if you're trying to lose weight, it'll go up more than likely at first just because it's a system shock.
Yeah.
So, if you're going to look at the scale as being the thing that will determine whether you're or not you're winning at this journey or you're successful, if it's a weight loss goal, let's just say, if you're looking at the scale and saying, cool, the number's less than it was,
Before.
the last time I weighed it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. With a grain of salt. Because if it goes up, you should be saying the same kind of like with the same rationale, like, all right, it's up, no big deal. Try to figure out why.
Mhm.
Cool. Whatever.
Yeah, and sometimes the why is out of your control, like when you're on that time of the month. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Well,
even
no, because I don't stick cotton in me.
oh my
Whatever. I, I don't know what you mean. The science I understand.
that's what I meant. The science of understanding, like, this leads to
I got
this.
a problem using Q-tips. I still feel violated from that.
Why?
Still cotton I'm putting inside my body. Fuck out of here. Anyway, so no, it's easy for us to say, don't let the scale control you. Don't let this, like I get it. So I mean, at the end of the day, you got to decide what you want to do. Like if you're gonna go on your own and you don't want to use a trainer, you don't want to get on any kind of program, that's your thing. Like, cool, dude. Honestly, as long as you know that the numbers they hold a value in whatever way you choose to give it value.
Yeah.
If that's your progress, like if you say, I don't care about anything else, I don't care about pictures, I don't care about, with this fit of this clothes or whatever it is, I don't care about anything else, but that number's got to be less that every time I step on a scale. Okay. If that's it, and you understand that there are factors that could skew that number and its meaning, cool, then do it. Honestly, well, I mean, if that's going to make your boat float, fine, do it. But the moment it gets to be a thing that is gonna change your programming around, that's where it becomes a problem, and it goes into practice. Like, if you're gonna weigh yourself every day,
Mhm.
that's just not gonna that's stupid. Like, what do you expect to see? That's like taking progress photos every single day and then looking at them. It's cool to take progress photos, uh, every day and never look at them
Right, not
and
like
then look back in the month because then you're gonna see all sorts of shit. You're like, "Oh my
uh-huh,
god, look at me." You
uh-huh.
know what I mean? But when you do it day by day, you see yourself every day, it doesn't work. You start to overanalyze. Overanalyze leads to just
Paralyzing.
paralyzing. Yes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, even throughout the day, your weight's gonna fluctuate. That's normal to wake up, be one weight, and then be another 5 pounds at the end of the day. That's that's normal, but that doesn't mean anything about your progress just because your weight fluctuated during the day. Like, So if you're using that as your main thing of progress, then you need to understand all the factors that go into it too. And to me that helps reevaluate the type of value that you're putting into it when you understand all the different factors that are going to affect that number, right?
Yeah.
Because you understand, like, okay, yes, I'm up a few pounds. It's Monday. I'm up a few pounds because I ate off routine this weekend. I had a ton of extra salt. I ate out a couple times, whatever. So the scale is up now. And you can choose to beat yourself up over that, or you can choose to understand, like, these actions led
Mhm.
to this outcome, and I'm in full control of
Yeah,
that.
if you're gonna beat yourself up over it, like, okay, but do something about it, I guess. I don't know how else
Well, yeah,
to
that's
say
a
that,
whole different
because
conversation, but
it's when it comes down to it, it again, it's about how, Sarah used the term accountability.
uh
Use it a lot, and it's like, and we should, because that's the name of the game. But I read that and I was like, what does that even fucking mean? Like that's a term I've seen. Like my feed has been filled with that trigger word.
mhm,
Yeah, we're gonna give you this, and you got accountability. Like, okay, what's that even mean?
mhm,
What? How? What does that mean? Because at least with our custom courses and challenges, and when we say accountability, we're meaning like we're damn near gonna annoy the crap out of you. We're gonna check in, we're gonna make sure it's this, we're gonna da, 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 like that, and in my end, like, I did that
mhm.
early on, but I got away from it because I didn't like babysitting adults, and I'm not trying to be rude about it, it's just,
At some point, you have to figure it out yourself too.
well,
Some of it's gotta be on
you
you.
gotta yeah, I
Like,
mean,
why do I want it more than you want it?
right, and that goes back to why I don't care about your goals.
Mhm,
I don't care about your goals at all,
mhm,
about why you want them, but not the goal itself, and so, if you're gonna use a scale, for anything, I would rather you weigh in on how many days a week you actually committed to.
mhm.
If you're going to weigh in on anything, I want to see the number go up on how much weight you're throwing down in a dumbbell or a
Yeah.
barbell or a whatever. You know what I'm saying? If it's a body weight exercise, like with the Fitget strap, and there's no like weight to push in terms of dumbbells and whatnot, cool. Then add it by reps. Have the reps go up in any given exercise because your body weight has done gone down.
Mhm.
Like there's 1,000 ways you could spin it. And again, if you're somebody who loves the scale that much for any number of reasons, because that's how you were raised, or that's just what you found comfort in
Metric.
that metric, in that moment, staring at the number, looking down, like that's a moment for you. But if again, same thing we said with the diet and the way of life, eating like an asshole, working out like an asshole, like enjoy the shit, come into the workout and kick that ass. Don't come into the workout bitching about the shit you ate, right? If you're gonna look down at that scale and see that number and it's not something that makes you happy, you stepped on it. So I'm okay with the scale if you know what the bad news will make you feel like, and if you're expecting it or not, and if you're willing to see that, what are you going to do about it?
I think that's the biggest thing. What are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do? Keep getting on the scale and keep being sad and keep being mad at yourself and whatever, but what? If you're not doing anything to change it, it's gonna keep being the same or
Well,
it's
I
gonna get
think
worse.
some folks will they'll get on it back and forth and are, I'm doing this, and the scale's not moving,
Mhm.
and they could be totally right,
Yeah.
and they could, lo and behold, there's a food allergy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or your body is going through some part of the metabolic process that you gotta gain before you lose, kind of thing. If you're inflamed, if you went and kicked ass on a Monday, Tuesday, and you're so damn sore you can't even believe it, and you're stepping on a scale all but 2 days later, and you're thinking, I really kicked my own ass. I'm gonna be down 20 pounds. Like,
You're gonna be up.
yeah, what the hell? Right. But if you go in expecting it to be down and it's not, and you're eating right, on top of it, I can understand you being upset,
Mhm.
sure. But again, it's not necessarily that you're doing anything wrong. It's just you don't know enough to judge.
Yeah, that's a big one.
And you know what I mean? So either get right with the knowledge behind it and learn about what to expect and understand that just because it's written that way or just because we say it or just because some dude on YouTube said it,
Mhm.
don't mean it's going to happen that way for you. And
Right.
that's the point of having somebody else with an objective set of eyeballs keep
And
you accountable.
yeah. Not only a different set of eyeballs, but the knowledge to help you figure out what you do need to do to make it happen.
Right. Otherwise, if it's not a scale, then it's going to be the trainer
Mhm.
or your neighbor or your sugar daddy or somebody. There's always going to be a somebody. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, the hell. You know what I mean? So honestly, and especially at this time of the year, holiday season come around. Um, it's we want to be a part of uh,
The
the holiday festivities, and
yeah.
we want to visit it. Dude, eat.
Yes.
Fine.
Mhm.
Take pictures of that shit. Yeah, go for it, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
If anything, step on a scale. Like, let's just say, like, if I'm like 214 right now, which is
Mhm.
fucking awful because it's not sexy. I'm 214 right now. I'm gonna see. You know what? I'm gonna eat like the hairiest asshole you've ever seen. Ho ho ho.
Okay.
Right?
And what?
I'm gonna eat so much. I want to see that scale go to 220 because I love me a challenge. I'm gonna deliberately eat because I'm gonna enjoy that shit wholeheartedly, begging for January to come
Mhm.
or December 26th or whatever day I effing choose because every day is resolution day
That's right.
according to whatever we talked about last time, right?
That's like, where's he
Like
going with
like
this?
to me, that is my resolution. I'm gonna solve this eating problem by enjoying the crap out of it, and I'm
Mm.
gonna drop the guilt with the rest of the
Oh,
stool I put in the toilet after
that's
it's done, and
right.
I'm gonna move on.
Yeah, because think about all the things you got in return for all that food.
Yeah,
The memories you build and all
well,
the
it's
the
even
much you
still,
enjoy
and
it.
we could touch on this on the emotional side of things
Mhm.
from a normative standpoint. 3,500 calories in a pound of fat. And if you want to go and do your math on it, like you gave an example, I'm not going to gain 8 pounds of fat in a weekend, which was 28,000 calories. Like, goddamn, you eating 28,000 calories? Shit.
I can eat, but
I
not
think you have a
28,000
condition
calories.
of fat, not
Right.
28,000 calories altogether.
Yeah, that's
Honestly, you
all
could
the
go to
specifics.
like, what is it, Oktoberfest or something?
Yeah.
You can eat
Oh,
28,000 calories.
in 2 hours.
Well, no, I wouldn't say all of that.
Come on.
No. People are going through 2,500, 3,000, 4,000 calories a day. Talking about 3 days. That's a 7-day span. That shit, what is that? In 3 days?
Ew,
God, dog.
sounds like a lot of food.
That's nuts. That's like 9,000 a day. It's crazy. A little more than 9,000 calories a day. If you're a bodybuilder or a pro athlete that needs calories, well, sure, okay, then maybe, yeah, you're getting it in. But I guarantee you, if you're not a pro athlete and you don't have those 28,000 calories mapped out for a reason to deliberately gain weight,
Mhm.
then you're not doing it for any other reason but
Yeah, that's gotta be hard.
emotionally eating like a
Yeah.
son of a bitch.
Eesh.
And honestly, like, all jokes aside, like, that's a thing. Like
Mm.
that. I mean, I get that. I understand it. But to hold yourself, that's like double whammying yourself without knowing why. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And letting the scale of all things determine your worth or determine your work ethic. I don't, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. I just don't agree with that.
I don't either.
So,
Sca
if you want to flip off the scale and give it its just due, then it's like, I bet you're gonna tell me this number, or I weighed this number last time. And I would say honestly, once a week, if you absolutely positively need to show the scale what you're working with, once a week is more than enough.
yeah.
And you better be as consistent as possible. Same day, same time, as best as you can, and then give yourself like a 1.5 pound flux
Yeah.
in either direction. And that means if you're down 1.5, if you choose to count that as a success, cool. If you're up 1.5, shit, you better not count that as a bad thing if you're gonna give it on the negative. You see what I'm saying? You can't have both.
Yeah.
So if you can understand that, then cool. But other than that, macro counting and things like that is a help again. But when you're talking about your metabolic engine
It's
and
constantly changing.
right,
And that's the it's supposed to. It is supposed to do that.
right, right.
And when your metabolic engine changes, the number on the scale changes. It's all like interconnected. But there's other ways to measure progress too. It doesn't just have to be the scale. Like there are other things that you can rely on more reliably than the scale. You know what I mean? Like if you're going to put on a certain pair of jeans, right? If I and those jeans get more and more loose as time goes on, maybe the scale's not moving a whole lot. That's okay. We've had people here on customs or challenges that go the entire 6 weeks and maybe lose a couple pounds, but their measurements are so far down and they've
Mhm.
had to buy all new clothes.
Right.
So, as your body composition changes, like we talked about the muscle and the fat, a pound of muscle is smaller, like surface area wise, than a pound of fat. So, as you are switching some of that fat out for muscle, the scale might be the same. It might even go up a little bit depending on how lean you start, but you're still getting smaller in size. You know what I mean? Which means
If
your clothes are
a
going to fit
7
differently.
site fat calipers is your best
Mhm.
bet,
Because it'll
honestly,
show you exactly what's happening.
from a commercial standpoint. And I mean, if you're in a clinical setting, that's a whole nother ballgame. But we're talking about, you can use tape measurements too if you
Mhm.
wanted, but getting a 7 site caliper done is your best bet.
Most specific.
Yeah, because then it's like you can see it in the millimeters drop, and even then, it's got to be the same consistency. Having two separate people pinch you is not the best idea because not every trainer pinches the same way.
And yeah, I it yeah, totally.
So I think I would go back and figure out on the scale what it is you're trying to get from that number. What does the expectations look like? And what it is you're trying to get from it, and as long as you can disassociate guilt
Mhm.
and or success from that thing, cool.
You know what it goes back to? Perspective.
Always,
Again,
always does.
always does.
So
But it does, it goes back to perspective, and if, the way that you look at your progress, there's like we just said, you can look at it in so many other ways than just the number on the scale. If you're gonna flip the scale off, then find something else that's gonna tell you better what your progress looks like.
honestly, in the beginning of the fall, I looked at the scale and I realized that I was consistently just flat out heavier, and I knew I was going to be in the 200s. So, but I also knew I wasn't doing nearly enough in the kitchen to adjust what was coming in. I also wasn't doing enough outgo in terms of expenditure. And between the two, because it's the only way you're going to drop the shit is if
Mhm.
you eat bright and
Exercise.
well, yeah, and just get more bang for your buck. I was doing a ton of the base building stuff, but I wasn't doing the cardio um for that I was doing base building to make sure my arteries don't get clogged.
Mhm.
And I was monitoring like how much I was eating and things, but I was also more so trying to dial back on the caffeine and such. But when I look at the scale, it's like, all right, I know I'm gonna be between this and this, 200 and like 207. Actually, I always thought I was gonna be between 210 and 220.
Mhm.
Like what I said, 214 something
Mhm.
right now. Like, all right. And then when I stopped looking at it, I just assumed it was gonna be higher. Um, it wasn't until I put on a pair of joggers, like one of my training pants that to do my formal exercises in, and it was looser than what it was a couple of weeks before that, and I was like, "God damn, these are loose." The first thought I had was that my wife went thrifting and bought something and swapped it out and didn't tell me, which that wasn't the case. So I was like, "All right, cool, this is the same one." Then I was like, "Well, shit, let me go weigh myself," and I ended up being less. And I was, yo, all right.
When you take all that pressure off.
Well, I it didn't because I knew that if I was to look in the mirror and look to see if my abs decided to join the party back like they was back in my 20s, those are some days right there. But I knew that I wasn't going to be nearly as lean as I was,
Mhm.
but I knew that and I was okay with that. So I mean,
Perspective.
I was happy that I saw the weight less
Mhm.
because it was a surprise. But I by no means gave that surprise any more power than a thank you. Cool. Like somebody who holds the door for you on the way out. That's cool.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. That's awesome. More because you can expect motherfuckers to just walk out, not pay attention on the phone, especially if they're young and you just want to rude little bastards. You know what I mean? But it's nice when
Yes.
it happens. It's like, all right, cool. And then you go about your day. Like that's what you got to look at the scale at.
Yes.
Somebody who you don't know, you walk in and out of a store, gas station, or something, and they hold the door for you on the way out. You don't know them. It's just something polite that they do. That's a nice surprise. You
That
don't
is nice
expect
surprise.
people to do that?
And then they do it, it's like a bonus.
Hell yeah.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yep, yeah. I
That's
like that
that's
I
a
like
good
that
that's a good way
analogy.
to that's a
That's a
good way to
good
put it.
one. Yeah, you have to you
Because
do
then what you almost want to hold the door for the next person in return, like paying it forward in a
yes.
way,
And yes.
right?
Yep.
I mean, I do for like 2 seconds, and I'm usually back to being angry again. So you have a window.
So
I
angry.
may hold I mean, if you're elderly, I got you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're a female, I got you. Like, I'm cool. I'm with that. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, I'm not gonna be like, well, they hold somebody I hold the door for you, that means you should hold the door for me. Like, I stopped that expectation a long ass time ago.
Oh,
You know
man,
what I mean?
that
But
yeah,
I think let's wrap that one up. Let's
yeah.
just okay. If you can hold the if your expectations behind the scale can be such that it makes you feel like it does when somebody holds a door for you on the way out of a store. You don't know them at all. It'd be great if they did it. You're not you don't need them to. It don't mean that you're held to doing anything in return. It's nothing like that. It's just really nice when it happens. Cool. And if they don't, you expected them to be a shithead anyway. Shit, it
So
don't
no
change nothing for you.
disappointment.
Right. There's nothing. You knew there was gonna be like that. That's just the way it is.
That's the way it
You
is.
know, cool. And you move on.